Coming up today on the ROL show.
Everybody now wants to go full time on YouTube, and they haven't uploaded a YouTube video. I don't, they want to get to 100,000 in subscribers. I got to 100,000 subscribers with YouTube running in the background of 4 other jobs or 3 other jobs.
Wow.
So I never went full time. I'm now trying to go full time now with 130,000 subscribers.
Wow, great. That's great insight. So good.
Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to understand, and they want to buy all this stuff. I'll tell you this, I have over 800 videos on YouTube. And guess what? 417 were made on my iPhone 7.
So hey guys, welcome to RL Show. We got Channa De Silva here today. I'm super excited because not only is he living a life that most of us actually dream about, but we're gonna go over his journey on how he was a top DJ and that he used that skill set to actually monetize and create the skill set to where he actually has an online brand where he's making tons of money with his assignment. So welcome, Channa De Silva, welcome.
Hey, what's up, Kalani? How are you?
So good, so good. Hey, thank you for taking the time. Hey, I'm gonna get right to it, brother.
Sure.
Hey, so real quick, so you have this phenomenal YouTube channel called Techno, right?
Right.
And so right now you have 130,000 subscribers, which is phenomenal. So if you can, help the listener who's trying to figure out what they want to do in life, what their calling is. So help us through what caused you to really start this channel and really start. Was it clear on being Techno Dad? Give us take us back to how'd you create this?
So I lived in Mammoth Lakes, California, and I was a DJ there, and I was DJing a lot of weddings, and I had to carry a lot of equipment. So I was actually looking on YouTube for a bigger vehicle, right? And so I found some, and I need to be it's a big ski resort, so I need to have all-wheel drive. I had an Audi SUV. I was looking at the bigger Audi SUV, and this video popped up. It says Audi R8 V10 Plus, first North American delivery. I was like, oh, that's like my
nice
dream car. Yeah.
Nice car.
$30,000 car. I click on it.
Woo!
And it's this 19-year-old pimply faced kid taking delivery of my dream car. I'm like, what is going on?
Oh man.
And he kept saying to the camera, I couldn't have done it without you guys. And so after a little bit of searching, he plays Call of Duty, and he makes like 20, 30,000 a month on YouTube. I'm like, whoa, I can't do that, but I can do something like that, right?
Wow.
And so that's kind of what it started. Then I learned about the Fun Toy Collector, that channel, and how she made 5 million in brand deals in 1 year. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't do that, but I can do something. And so that's what started me making YouTube videos. I'd made some videos before on my personal channel, the Channa De Silva YouTube channel, but nothing that was focused on something. Yeah. It didn't have, a clear vision. So so that's kind of what then I went to Amazon. I bought 6 items at $20, $25 each, and then was like, okay, is this a cool gadget or absolute crap? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what got me started. Making videos with the intent of putting it on YouTube.
Yeah.
To, grow a channel wasn't really my top priority. It was just me going through the motions of talking to a lens, those kinds of things that you really need to be comfortable with.
So back then, Channa, did you have an idea that one day you'd actually be making a career on this?
No,
not at all, right? Okay.
Not at all. I had 4 part-time jobs, DJing, teaching music. I had a night job where I was doing graveyard shifts 3 nights a week, and hosting karaoke. Those were my 4 jobs.
Wow.
So
were you married at the time? You have kids at the time? Not yet. None of that going on.
Yeah. I was married. Wow. 2015 we got married. I just started the channel in 2016.
Wow.
I did put a bunch of these videos on my regular channel.
Yeah.
The one that's called Channa De Silva.
Yep, I saw that.
And that has a bunch of car videos, because I'm also into cars. And had I known, I would have totally been a car vlogger, because I have a car vlog, this Audi vlog from 2007 of me going and driving the R8 on a racetrack and all this stuff. Had I known like
Awesome
YouTube
car,
could have been a
man.
thing, I would have been doing cars instead of tech stuff.
Oh man, that's such an awesome car, man. The
Yeah,
convertible
yeah.
R8 is beautiful.
Oh yeah, this was back when it was the V8 version, and I drove a manual on the racetrack. Got up to like 140 miles an hour. It was like this event I just paid to go to, and I had a Sony point and shoot camera, and I was just documenting everything that I was doing and all the cool cars. And had I known, this was 2007, so had I known anything about it, I would have. I would have done something, if there was a YouTube, really. But
So
back in
cool.
2007, 2008, like nobody was really like,
Yeah.
you weren't getting paid from it for sure, those kinds of things. So that's kind of like I'm sorry.
You call it, you're like almost like a pioneer at that stage, pretty
At
much.
that stage, yeah. So I didn't really know anything about it, and so I ended up, reaching out to a few companies because I wanted like, okay, let me make a video for like, this is now fast forward back to 2016. I was trying to get companies to send me gear for like DJing and stuff, and they're like, your channel is too all over the place. It doesn't have
Clarity.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, I ended up what do you call it? Creating the Techno Dad channel.
So what? How did that come about? I mean, you're working 4 jobs. You're creating this channel out of just pure fun, pure passion, and so take us back. Like, when did it actually the idea? The Techno Dad, and I love the title, Techno Dad.
Oh, yeah. So I like technology. So I wanted a tech channel. I love buying tech stuff. I'm always buying something. So I figure if I'm buying something, I should make a video about it. And so I'm a dad. My my ex-wife has a son. So I have a stepson.
Awesome.
Who I raised. Who's 20 years old now.
Wow.
And that just it just kind of stuck. I play house and techno music. I produce electronic music like house and techno. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just Techno Dad. That's cool. Whatever.
Wow.
And I just made it. I did wasn't a whole lot of thought into it. I was just like, cool. And I made the channel right away, and I started posting videos on that somewhat regularly.
So let's talk about this. So you have 4 jobs. You're creating this channel.
Uh-huh.
Was there a point in time in this career where you're able to scale back on your part-time jobs, and then what do you do to like also start monetizing Techno Dad?
Well, okay, so it started monetizing right away.
Really?
Actually, because back then there was no thresholds for monetization. There was no 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. That's relatively new, for me. It was just, I started making, my first deposit was $117 from Google. So I started August 2016. I got that first check January of 2017.
Wow, that's a lot of residual income, man. That's for first check. That's pretty big.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, this thing's actually working. So then I started, like it was weird. So I got laid off on my 40-hour-a-week job 1 month into the channel. So October 2016,
Wow.
got laid off. Right. So you're asking about, could I ditch one of these jobs? I picked up another one. Instead of doing 40 hours a week, I was just doing 2 nights a week, graveyard at this other hotel.
Okay.
And that allowed me a lot of free time to mess around with video ideas, editing, all that kind of stuff, because I had hours where there was nothing to do, right? I would do my like 10, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. Oh, somebody, called at like 2 a.m. I answer the phone, or somebody came to check in at like 3 a.m. I do handle that. But there's all this dead hours of nothing to do.
Yeah.
You just have to stay awake. You watch the cameras, you do this and do this. And so like in between, I had a little free time.
Yeah.
I would, take my camera and I did. Here's the other thing, what's funny is I think about it. Everybody now like wants to go full time on YouTube, and they haven't uploaded a YouTube video. Like I don't, they want to get to 100,000 in subscribers. I got to 100,000 subscribers with YouTube running in the background of 4 other jobs or 3 other jobs.
Wow.
So like I never went full time. I'm now trying to go full time now with 130,000 subscribers.
Wow, great. That's great insight. So good.
Yeah, a lot of people like don't seem to understand, and they want to buy all this stuff I'll tell you this. I have over 800 videos on YouTube. And guess what? 417 were made on my iPhone 7. iPhone 7.
Audience, listen to that. Man, that's good.
You don't need a fancy camera. I have a camera that I gave myself a present at 100,000 subscribers. I got this Sony FX3. It's a $4,000 camera, $2,000 lens. That was my present to myself for sticking it in for so long, holding on to this thing and just doing it for so long. But I didn't spend money on a camera. I spent money on, a couple of lights, $80, a lav mic that plugs right into the phone, $70, like a basic tripod, with a little camera mount. That was it.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Because you know what? You, not only were you wise with money, but you're wise. Like you really, I love it because so many people, when they start a business, they spend so much time on money on equipment, but they don't produce the content. Where you just you focus on the content, you refine that. That's phenomenal, Channa. Great.
Yeah. No, that was actually very huge. So I got laid off October of 2016, and then with my DJ business, I just did a brand new website. I quadrupled all my pricing for like weddings, for DJing weddings, and then that November, December, I started getting these deposits, and I started actually making more money, on DJing. Yeah. And while that was happening, all these specials were happening for one of my other passions, which is home theater. So I started upgrading my home theater, and every piece I bought, I would make a YouTube video about it. And then that video spawned a ton of questions in the comments. And so I would read all the comments, respond to them. And sometimes I'd make a video about the question that they asked.
Whoa.
Specifically. So then me buying the one thing led to like 6 videos that all started generating income. And I was just like, whoa, this is kind of like if I spend the like $3,000 on this receiver, right? That's like me buying an apartment complex and all my videos are my little apartments, right? And so the videos start making money and making money and making money. And at some point I would sell the receiver for whatever half price, or go on eBay and just undercut everybody, and just to move it to get more cash in to buy something new, to make another 6 videos out of that one new thing, and answer the questions that everybody has.
Chad, I love that because you gave an example, like are you going to buy like a $2 million apartment complex, or what, you have each video, it literally is like a renter that's paying you money every single month,
essentially.
And no headache, you know what I mean?
Well, there's still headaches.
Sure.
There's editing. There's hate comments. There's like all kinds of stuff that go along with it. And I would
let's speak about that real quick. At 130,000 subscribers, a lot of people they don't want to start videos because they're so afraid of being judged by the public.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
What are some things?
It's going to happen. No matter how nice you are, you can't. Somebody is having a bad day. Somebody is, taking it out on you. There's this one video in 2017. Samsung came out with this new technology, and I told people not to buy it. And the thumbnail was like a picture of the Samsung TV, and then big and red and white was warning, right? And if you Googled or YouTubed Samsung space QLED, that was the technology. That video was #1 in search results for 9 months, and I got all kinds of hate from all the Samsung fanboys and fangirls. So like, I even made a video about it, and like it got really, really bad. And I just remember what like people like Sean Cannell would say, and they're like, bad comments, if it's a rude comment, just ignore it.
Yeah.
Or answer it. If you kill them with kindness, it's actually kind of funny because other people see you just being like, oh, this guy, this doesn't faze that person. And it didn't really, it didn't really faze me at all. So at the end of the day, all those bad comments just added more engagement to that video, which made the video get, higher rank in search because people are talking about it. Right. So in a roundabout way, all these bad comments did nothing but help the video, get seen by more people.
So true. Well, talk about, You have these subscribers now. When did your product, the spatial audio toolkit, how did that come about? And what was there a certain like were you at 50,000 subscribers when that came out?
No,
what triggered that product?
So I transitioned from trying to do overall tech videos to home theater stuff. So because I've actually been a home theater enthusiast since the mid '90s, so I know a lot about it. One of my best videos, or best only one video I have that has 1 million views, is how to connect speakers to amplifiers. And it was a question somebody asked me, and I'm like, I looked at the question, I read it, I'm like, dude, you plug it in. What is your damage? Like, this is the simplest thing. But because I've been doing it since I was 12. And,
simple to you.
It's simple to me because I know how to do it, right? So so I went ahead and did like a very comprehensive video, and it sucks, dude. The lighting's bad. Like my skin tone looks all orange. It's not in focus. The talking head part's not in focus. I'm like,
it's authentic. Yeah.
This is the video, of course, that has 1 million views.
So awesome. You never know, right? So we're so caught up in trying to look good, but really the question is, just be good, right?
Yeah, just be good. And then and so that video had made being in the home theater space for a long time, covering all the new technologies and trying it out and doing all this stuff and helping people decide if they want to put speakers in their ceiling. Are they going to cut holes in their ceiling? Are they going to mount it up high? I'm looking at some of them now. It's a big thing for people to actually that investment. So I was kind of doing all the experimentation for them, and they're asking me, what do I think? Is it worth it? This, that, and the other. And then out of the 6 years that we've been doing it, I met some other YouTube people. We've been doing a podcast called the Daily Hi-Fi Podcast. We do that every Tuesday. It's been going on for like 4 years now.
Wow.
And he and I were like, he is actually doing these remote calibrations, and he's like, hey, can you make these sounds come out of the speakers up top? And I was like, yeah, I can. And I'm actually a music producer, like I said before. So I've been producing music since 2005. I know how to make all these things, sounds and move them around. And, with the few updates, Dolby Atmos creation started happening in the Logic Pro software. And so then I started just, fooling around with that stuff. I invested a lot of money into a 11 speaker array for mixing Dolby Atmos and mixing and creating Dolby Atmos. And then I was helping him do this stuff. And he said, hey, we should get together and make something. So that's kind of how we figured out, like, there was a hole in the marketplace, and we filled that hole, and we made the entire product from home. We had to like manufacture, send somebody in to manufacture the disc, which is this guy right here.
Awesome.
Is the disc in here? No, it's actually in the player. But other than that, there's 160 tracks on here that, we developed and created, over 200. And it's the only disc of its kind. And we were the first to create it, and we made it all from home. But and remotely, because I'm 300 miles away from my friend who's working on this with me. So,
wow.
And I had 120,000 subscribers at the time. He had 80,000 at the time. And so with our combined audience of 200,000 subscribers that are into audio, that are into home theater, we were able to kind of, sell this organically through our YouTube channels. We did a live stream during the launch. We kind of like teased it a little bit.
Sure.
And then
Channa,
pre-order.
You're listening to you. It's so interesting because, so many people have a challenge of like, what is their niche? What is their niche? Yeah. Right. Yep. And so it sounds like the way can you give some advice on people who are wanting to be like you, right? Like because you're solving a specific problem, right?
Yeah.
And so can you help some of the people listening to this, like help them with like maybe how to figure out what their niche is?
I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm 45. I had no idea. I didn't even tell I didn't even tell my ex-wife I was starting a YouTube channel because I know, she would have just been like, "Oh, what are you? Who's going to listen to you?" Like I did it. She had no idea. I was doing it for like at least like 9 months before I actually told her.
Wow.
Right? Because it's that thing of like,
Was that you protecting your? Because I always tell people the biggest dream stealers come in the form of your family and friends. Was that you protecting your mindset by not?
Yeah, like I was just doing it, and people were liking it, and I just kept doing it, and and like I didn't want to tell people like my friends or family.
So good,
right? I was hosting karaoke. I had a friend who was doing the emceeing. My friend Maurice, and I told him about it. He's like, "Oh, you're totally going to be great with that," and I teach guitar and piano, and I taught music for a while, so like I know like how it is for a beginner. I can put myself in a beginner's mindset and be like, okay, they're going to need to know A, B, C, X, Y, Z before we even start making sound on the guitar, right? There's so much, if you're trying to teach somebody something, you need to put your mindset as that teacher, right? And what I notice, if you're going to go teach people, you end up having to learn more so that you can teach effectively.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as far as finding your niche, man, I'd say like whatever that you were passionate about when you were a kid, and that you can kind of still sort of do now. I mean, I'm lucky. I had a successful business as a DJ because I left Los Angeles. That's all I needed to do. I needed to leave Los Angeles to where there was a place where there wasn't that many DJs, and it took like 10 years for me to build it up. But, DJing for free here, DJing for free there, and then to the point where I was charging, multiple thousands of dollars for one gig.
Wow.
Because of my reputation in the community, and B, my skills. I'm just really good at it. There's also that, like whatever it is your niche is, you got to be good at it. You got to be good at it, and you got to be authentic. And I think one of the things that really helped me be this comfortable in talking to a lens was Casey Neistat, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, he does this daily vlog, and I'm like, man, that's pretty crazy. I wonder if I could do that. So I tried to do a daily vlog, and my goal was 7 days. Kalani, guess how many days I got in a row?
7.
50.
Whoa!
Right?
Wow. So what I'm hearing, we think it's such a big ordeal, but it seems like you just start flowing. You just did it.
So well, get this. So 49 days is what 7 weeks, right? 7 times 7. Yeah. So in that 7 weeks, not only did I do a daily vlog, 7 videos every week, I still did my 3 tech videos. So I was uploading 10 videos a week for almost 2 months in a row.
Whoa. Wow.
And that's how I got very, very good at talking to a lens, A, and B, editing very fast. Very, very fast.
Very fast.
Right.
Well, talk about that, because how do you balance that? Because that's a lot for people who are starting to really start their YouTube channel or their career. That's a lot of content.
Oh yeah. Well, see, I have a great life, man. All this cool stuff is happening. So I started it on a Monday, and I had to DJ that Monday. Then Tuesday I was hosting karaoke. So there's all this time in between. I would just edit, release the video, and then go along I bought for my iPhone 7, I bought a one of the gimbal things.
Yes.
The Osmo Mobile from DJI. I bought that thing. It was a couple $100. And so I would, while I'm setting up, I'd have it, on a tripod over here, active tracking me while I'm setting up for, the whatever event. And so, that's part of it. It's all sped up. And then, parts of people singing and people, at the karaoke night, it's just the little clips of the day. And then, the next day I'm teaching music. So there was some like of me, like you see me in the studio, like teaching some kids, and then I go to my graveyard shift. You see me over there. I'm like, and I finally got it to where like I have timestamps of what time things are happening. And people are like, man, do you ever sleep? Because they'll be like 7 a.m. Hey, I just got off work. I got a DJ at the ski resort, and it's like 12 p.m. So I've slept for 4 hours, got up, shaved, showered, packed up the car, and I'm heading up to the mountain to DJ for like 4 hours, then get off and then go home, sleep, go back to the graveyard shift at 11 p.m. And like, they're just like, oh my God, this is,
what I love about that? Because I love about that because, people sometimes they go out of their way to make content, but what you did, while you're living your life, you're making content.
Yeah,
so really, you're just flowing with it, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. It was what Gary Vaynerchuk says: document, not create. Right.
So,
that way. But then, at the same time, I had a lot of stuff going on already.
Yes.
So it kind of worked for me. Not a lot of people have that. So, I was lucky that I had raised all my pricing for the wedding stuff, and so I had all this extra cash. So I would use that to buy equipment. For making
Hold on, talk about before we get into that. Talk about that because I love the fact a lot of the mentors that I'm talking to, like Kalani, raise your prices because it's really the value. So talk about, was it hard for you to raise your prices, and then once you raise your prices, did you all of a sudden get more business because of it?
I got more of the right business.
Yes,
right is essentially, now there were 3 other DJs DJing weddings. And the problem I was having is they were, less than half of what I was charging. Ooh. So once I wanted to do like a $500 increase, I was like, hey, I would tell all of them, hey, I'm raising prices. So you guys need to be up at least another $300 per wedding.
Wow.
Right? And so they would slowly raise their prices too.
So you're setting the market, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And I topped it out. I topped it out at like $5,000 for a day. So
good. So your whole life you're actually in the music and you're actually in the tech industry. That's why. So you are literally, not only is your brand Techno Dad, you are Techno Dad, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do to kind of balance up? Balance doesn't really exist, but what are some of the things that you do to maybe not get burned out? Anything you do? Do you go?
I honestly, like, dude, I just like doing stuff. I'm always just doing something. I can't, it pains me to like sit down and watch TV for hours. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes I have to, as far as like the niche is home theater. And so like, oh, this new movie came out, this new show is out. So, I got to watch a little bit of it so that I can comment on our, podcast about it. Right. Like, was last night, I was super tired last night because I was out of town. I just got back in last night. Flight was delayed. I'm like, I need to sleep. I'm like, let me get one more episode of Fallout in before I go to sleep. Right.
Good.
So that I can have something to talk about on Tuesday, tomorrow, when we have our show, because we're going to get, everything that happens over the weekends. New movies get released. Everybody's talking about it. So I kind of have to do that. But I don't really like sitting around and watching TV for hours and hours. Like that's, there's so many other things I could be doing. Like one of the things that I heard recently that totally relates is that when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Right. So if I'm saying yes to sitting down and watching TV for a couple hours, I'm saying no to, editing, thinking about the new video topic or whatever. That's one of those things where it's just like, for me, I remember, going to the market whenever I'm not working on a video, I'm working on a video. Right. So
your mind.
Like one of the things, like I tried teleprompters. I tried just winging it. What I noticed that works best for me is writing down topics and then just talking to myself about it. Right. So I'm in the car driving to the market.
Okay.
And then I'm just reciting what I'm just saying. Okay, I need to do. Okay, what's the intro going to be like? Oh, it's going to be da 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 da. And then I start going onto a tangent. So I'm in the market with my list of stuff to buy, and I'm talking out the video while I'm shopping. Right.
That's that's a really great technique. You think about it, right? Because you're actually talking through it. Right. And then you're getting ideas from that, which is really, and you're hearing yourself talk, which is really kind of cool. And
right. And it keeps me on track because I'm a little scatterbrained too. So when I sit down to talk to the camera, sometimes I ramble a little bit and then it's just like, oh, wait, no, I gotta land the plane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So it's one of those things that helped me make the videos more concise, was to practice talking the video while I'm doing something else before I shoot it. You know, like I have the product, you know, I've used it for a month or 2 months or whatever, and I know what I like about it, I know what I don't like about it. And once I have, like, you know, there's all the like specs and the stats, which I just kind of read off,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
because you don't want to get those wrong. But when it comes to the actual like evaluation of it, then it's more of what I feel, my experience, this and that. So I just practice. I write down the topics and then practice it somewhere else.
So, John, talk about how would you, if a person is starting right now. Let's talk to the two different people. Let's talk about the person that's just starting their channel now. Would you advise them to start thinking of ways to monetize, or would you tell them to really just focus on getting clear in your content and giving value? What would you
focus, giving value, and with the monetization rules, like we started another channel based around our product, so it's a Spatial Group YouTube channel. It's almost got 1,000 subscribers, and we just do stuff on there where we just experiment with spatial audio things, right? And people are just like, people that stumble upon it, you know, we advertise it to our viewers already.
Yeah.
You know, so some of them subscribed, some of them didn't. But the people that find those videos, you know, by accident or organically, they're like super impressed. They're like, wow, this is great. What are you guys, what you guys are doing here is pretty awesome. So, you know,
so good
with that. And our podcast channel is at like 9,000 subscribers. And so that's another thing where people can document as opposed to create. You know, what we do there is, you know, it's 3 of us, and we have an editor now. But at the end, when it started, it was like 4 of us, and we would just take turns editing it. So we download the podcast, find 6 topics, cut them up, upload each topic every day. And so then it would just grow organically that way without a whole bunch of extra stuff that we're doing. We're kind of like, okay, the weekend happened. I'd have a couple of topics, you know, and the other guys would have a couple of topics to talk about. And now our editor is watching, and, you know,
so
he
talk
makes
about
the thumbnails.
That. You have an editor now. You have some business partners.
No, that's actually my friend's channel, and so he handles all that. And so it makes enough money to pay for the editor, right?
So good.
And then that channel has merch. So whatever goes to that channel goes to like editing, and paying for the editor essentially. And it's pretty easy in the fact that like we all 3 of us have YouTube channels already. We all have our own YouTube channels, so we come together to do this one, which, you know, brings a sense of community,
collaboration, beautiful,
right? And collaboration, right? And when I don't know something, you know, Aaron can pick up or Joe picks it up. You know, it's not we're not just saying I don't know all the time, which some of the technical questions I was just like, oh man, no, that's not me. You know, that's not me. That's one of you guys. And then they'll jump in, you know, that kind of thing. Or people will have specific questions for each of us.
Yeah.
You know, I do a lot of like, you know, settings for AVRs and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised how much I know, like off the top of my head. And I'll be like, oh, go to here, go to this menu section, go here, turn this on, turn that off, you know, that kind of thing. Whereas, you know, all the other guys are, you know, taking measurements of the speakers so you can get a representation of how they performed, like an objective representation as opposed to subjective.
John, you know what I love what you're doing? There's so many people that they dream about creating a lifestyle that you're living, right? And so take us now. What's in the future for Channa De Silva? What are you planning? You got a new studio, got a new office there. You know, that's awesome. What are you like? What's your next 36-month goal or 5-year goal or 10-year goal?
So 5-year goal. If everything goes wrong, 5 years, cover of Rolling Stone magazine. If everything goes right, 3 years, cover of Rolling Stone magazine. That's in the space of spatial audio and mixing Dolby Atmos for music, right? Because I kind of got bored. Reviewing products and making YouTube videos. Honestly, I've made over 800. I've been doing it for over 8 years now, and
I love the honesty. I love it.
There's all these other YouTube channels that are smaller, that are home theater focused, that have watched what I've done, and they're doing what I was doing back in 2018.
Okay.
So how do I differentiate myself from the crowd? Well, I'm a music producer. I'm a DJ. You know, I have all these other talents and skills that other people in the space don't have. You know, I know why. You know, people always complain. Wow, I got this movie. I spent all this money on 11 speakers in my living room, maybe, you know, or in their dedicated home theater. And they're like, I watched this movie and there wasn't really that much like cool stuff happening above me. And I'm like, yeah. So I started hearing all this stuff, and I feel the same way too. And I started mixing music in Dolby Atmos. So now I've got, which is mostly house and techno and EDM, because, you know, there's no preconceived notion, you know, guitar has to be on the left. You know, drums have to be on the right. You can't have guitars flying around. But, you know, in EDM and stuff, you have a lot of like whooshes and all these, you know, so like I make sounds come from all around you, and I put the listener in the center of the music, and everything's kind of happening and hitting them from all these different angles. And so that is what this whole new space is about, is I'm going to be mixing spatial audio for artists. And so that's where I want to go, because that's way cooler and way more fun for me now, right?
Wow.
And
I love that you're listening to like your happiness, like you're pivoting, right?
Yeah.
And so you're actually growing. You're actually fine tuning who Channa De Silva is. And so I think that's great advice for the listeners. Really, you know, when you start getting, you know, I think you start getting bored with something that you're doing. Right? Really, maybe you want to start pivoting and really seek what you love to do.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, like how much every year these companies come out, every year, every 18 months, they come out with the same thing, but it's just, you know, this much better. You know, it's just like, oh, there's a projector company. Like these projectors are ridiculously expensive, right?
Totally. I just bought one.
Right? Yeah, $25,000, right, for a projector. And then it's not even been 2 years, and they come out with a new version that's 8K and 8K resolution, not 8,000.
Yes.
And it's still like $26,000. And somebody in the Facebook group is like, oh, they just came out with this. I can't wait for the reviews. And I'm like, spoiler alert, all the reviews are going to say it's the most amazing thing since sliced bread, because that's usually what they say.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody's like laughing and stuff, because it's, you know, if I just bought a $25,000 projector last year, and a new one came out this year, would I be itching to buy the new one? I'm like, no, like I already got one. Like it's the same thing. And I realize, like, just with iPhones and everything else, like the company has to have something new for you to buy this year. And it just gets old. It gets old, you know? And I'm like, you know, like I don't want to make this video about this, right? I don't. I already know essentially what that video is going to be. Like, it works. It works.
Hey, talk to the, you know, you're very successful now. Talk to the person, the entrepreneur that right now is like having some self-doubt of where they are, right? Oh. Was there a point in your life where like you weren't really sure this is what you're going to be doing? Talk to that person, like having self-doubt. Can you give us some encouragement to that listener?
I mean, if it's a, you know, if you're suffering from imposter syndrome, they call that, right? And having that self-doubt, you know, there's been all this talk about, you know, lately about manifestation and all this kind of stuff, and how you have to put yourself in the mindset of the person you want to be to become that person, right? So essentially, you know, I kind of did that without, you know, years ago, you know, when it's about DJing, it's, you know, it's an interesting kind of world where I have to separate myself from everyone else, but at the same time do exactly the same thing they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And
modeling. Yes.
Yeah. And then actually being better than them, and, you know, knowing that I'm better, you know, and I can deliver for my clients, you know, a better experience. Right. And it's all just based on my unique experience as a musician. I'm a classically trained pianist. I've been playing piano and guitar for 30 years.
Wow.
I actually DJ differently because of all of that.
Yes.
So I would say that's like a superpower you have above other. That's very unique because not people have that. I know a lot of DJs, right? And so they don't have that background in music like that. I myself, I play flamenco guitar. And so, listening, having that background, you have a real insight. So right. So here, I'll tell you, since you probably know. So so I mix harmonically. So I go from one key to the next key to the next song, maybe in the same key, or I can mash up two songs in the same key because I know they won't clash. And then you kind of just jump around. Okay, now I'm going to go up a third. I'm going to go up a fifth. And they can't tell. They know something. Like the audience they don't know what I'm doing, but it sounds like perfectly seamless.
Yes.
Because I'm taking that extra step, right?
Wow.
And then at the others, I would also ski at the DJ at the ski resort. And there's for 4 hours, and there's people coming in and out. They're eating, drinking, whatever. I'm just there for whatever. And I wouldn't actually play to the crowd. I played for myself because I was
awesome.
I was doing the same thing. I was documenting. So I was recording digitally the output from the mixer into the laptop, and I would upload the audio every week. And so
you're literally creating your own music, which is phenomenal. Yeah.
So I would just do it for me, really. I'd be like, oh, and that's the way I operate. I don't really, when I'm DJing, one song is playing, and all of a sudden, boom, the lyrics of another song pop in my head, and I go and I find it, and I'm like, oh, it's in a compatible key. I'm like, okay. So I don't even think about the next song I'm playing.
Channa, what I love about that?
It's weird.
What I love about that is I'm listening to, it's people, they have this inner voice that they want to get out, but they're so afraid to get that inner voice out to the world. So what they do instead, they actually just copy some of the people that they're right. But they're really, the success is really being what you just did, really get what you wanted. You created something for yourself to be happy. And you realize that made other people happy. I love that, what you just did.
Yeah. I listened to that voice in my head and I just ran with it. And that's essentially, I wish I was able to do that 20 years when I was in my 20s, but it's just something that could come with time. So, if you're struggling with imposter syndrome, you just, you have to find courage to follow that inner voice.
So good. Yeah, if you're listening to this right now, that was very. I love what we just found right there in this interview, Channa, because a lot of people they feel so much fear. I'm going to go through it myself right now with ROL, right? Are people really going to listen to this? But it is something that God downloaded to me to get out to the world because you're a perfect example of listening to your calling and monetizing that calling and just going with it and flowing with it. And so with that being said, I know you're extremely busy. What are some parting words that you could give to the listener? I literally have 30 questions that I prepared for you today. And
we can go do a couple of more if you want.
Beautiful. Okay, so looking back.
Let me say this. I read your story, and I think your story is way more fascinating than mine. Okay.
Thank you.
So you've come a long way too, man. From what I was just like, oh damn, So
I have. So
congratulations to you. Let's
get Thank you, man. So I'm taking your advice, man. I'm listening to that internal. I'm finding the demons of really just getting what I want to get to the world, right? And so this is where this question, looking back, what advice would you give to the 20-year-old, 21-year-old Channa De Silva?
Go for it. And go harder than you did. Don't wait 10 years and don't get married.
It's so funny you say that. I'm in wealth planning, so I always, one of my wealthier clients, men and women, I always encourage them. I know it's tough, but you got to get the prenuptial agreement just to protect yourself, right? And so I have one of my banners here is protect your estate, right? From your fans. So yeah, that's definitely another interview for another time, right?
Yeah.
So beautiful. And so now in the future, do you plan on like expanding? Do you want to get more employees? Do you want to expand? I mean,
Well,
what's your plans?
So, going as a sole proprietor in my DJ business, and even like my, teaching guitar and piano, that was another business, right?
Yeah.
It was always just me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fine until, recently, like, we all make mistakes. And when I made a mistake and it's just me, it was okay.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't that big of a deal. Now, when I make a mistake, other people are affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then, we had the situation, and I don't know what it's like to be a CEO. I'm just, trying.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
And I have, 4 other people now that depend on me to make sure, the product is selling.
Yes.
To make sure that, there's plenty of money coming in so that their families rely on them. So now it's like, now there's more, I wouldn't say pressure, but there's more
responsibility.
Responsibility. Yeah. There's more responsibility for me to not be successful, but, just to, being in business, I heard somebody say there's no end to it. It's just to continue doing business.
Consistency.
Right. And you just have to continue to do it. So I think that's one of the things I'm learning now is like, if I make a mistake, it doesn't just cost me, it costs everybody in the company.
So with that being said, Channa, what do you do to fight through that fear of actually taking action?
Right? Oh man, you got to go with it. And if you take the L, you got to just take it on the chin.
Yes.
Sometimes you get gut punched one day and the next day you're like riding high, or vice versa. It's an emotional roller coaster. Sometimes, like this is my first time having a product to sell. Yeah. And in everything that goes along with that, we have, I have a customer service guy because I was doing the customer service emails, and I do not need to be doing customer service emails because I am very short with people, and you can read it in the text. You're just like, my buddy was like, oh dude, you got to hire somebody. You can't. You can't be talking to people like this because it's very short, because I don't have the time to like, hold their hand and walk them through something, like I would in a YouTube video. But at the same time, they're a paying customer, so they need support. So, realizing that that's not the right job for me, hire somebody that is, thorough, knows the product, knows, how to, fix things, or whatever workarounds need to be, told to the guest or the customer, so those kinds of things, right? So, it's not just, I have a website person, I have a social media person to do posts and make things look pretty. You need a copywriter if you don't like copywriting. I use a lot of Chat GPT and kind of
that's good.
Change whatever, I get. I'm like, oh, this is a great part. This one part, not so much. So I'll take what I need, from Chat GPT to do copy for posts or descriptions for videos, or trying to streamline and make things easier for me. Because for me, I'm kind of like people. I'm from Sri Lanka, right? It's a little island. And living in Southern California most of my life. So when I was growing up, people thought I was like some surfer kid because of the way I speak. And so when I'm writing emails and stuff, I'm not the most professional. When I'm trying to write copy for a post that's, I want people to buy something from, it has to sound like that. So, if you're going through imposter syndrome like I am with copy, I use Chat GPT. I'm like, oh, this sounds much better.
Beautiful.
I just change a few things. Don't just copy and paste it,
Sure.
Scan it and, make sure it makes sense and all that. So
give it some of your own personality. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. So tell us, with parting words here, I really want to make sure that we serve the audience here. So, you got 137 subscribers. You're on your way probably to 150 to 200,000 subscribers, right? And so when does it get to the point where, the subscribers, I mean, was there a part of your time in your career where you were so driven to get the subscribers because a lot of times we want to separate like the identity, just because you don't want to have your identity wrapped up in your subscribers. So we want to.
Right.
I want to. Can you protect the listener from really making sure it's not all about the subscribers, all about the content, how you serve, and how you help people?
That's in my logo. It says Techno Dad, and on the top ring it says I'm here to help.
Yeah.
Right. And essentially, that's what it was. Everybody from Evan Carmichael, Sean Cannell, where I met you at,
Yep.
I've known Sean since 2017.
Wow.
Right. And so I've been using his strategies to rank videos and do all that kind of stuff. And it was really just going back into the comments and reading all the comments. And even if it's just replying or responding thanks or just hearting their comment, like that acknowledgement that you've read it is really what
recognition.
Yeah, a lot of the viewers love that. I answered a few. I was at an airport. My flight was delayed for 3 hours, so I just went on, just started responding to all these comments on my phone, and they're responding back. Thank you for your reply. Because some of them are easy, some of them are more technical. So I was even trying to offload the easy ones to someone else, and just say thanks. Or say, oh my God, this was so great. Thank you for watching. Those kinds of things. And
did that work? How'd that work out for you? Did that work out okay, or not really?
Not really.
Yeah,
it was better for me to just do it. But it becomes pretty overwhelming once you're, I made this video. It's got in a month it did 50,000 views recently, and just to read all the comments, the better a video does, the more comments it's going to get. So it gets overwhelming.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously you're definitely gonna keep growing. Are you?
Yeah, but it's not a huge thing for me anymore. Once I got the plaque, and it took 5 years of doing the channel part-time, essentially part-time, to get to 100,000 subscribers.
Beautiful.
There were times when the channel was growing by 400 subscribers a month, and there were times when the channel was growing by 5,000 subscribers a month.
Wow.
And then it took a nosedive, and it was now it's at about 800 or 900 a month. So
beautiful.
It'll ebb and flow, and you got to just be not be discouraged about how many subscribers you're getting, how many views. At that event we met at, they talk about viral for me, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you know what my bar is so low.
Really?
Yeah, as long as the video gets 1,000 views, I'm happy. That's it. That's how I started. I was once it started getting traction, the channel, 2017, 2018, I'm like, if this video gets 1,000 views in 24 hours, I'm totally happy.
Wow.
And I would just keep moving. I'm like, oh, it got 10,000 views in the first 24 hours. Cool. But the next video, I'm like, okay, I hope this gets 1,000. I'm not like, okay, now it has to get 10,000 in the first 24 hours or 20,000 or whatever. I'm not chasing. I'm just that's my bar is low, of my expectations. And that's one of the things that you can't we don't know what video is going to do well.
Yeah.
I mean, we can have an idea.
Yes.
Right. I'm like, okay, this is a new product. I'm the first one with this product.
Yeah.
This is going to be the first video on YouTube about the product. But how many times is that?
Yeah.
All those things line up. It's not realistic.
Channa, what I love about that is you're actually protecting your mental game, because we can get so much caught up in I just produced a video. Last video I got 5,000. I'm only getting 1,000 views this time, right? What you're really doing is protecting your sanity there, right? But say, you know what? As long as I get 1,000 views, I'm good.
I'm good, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm good, and I'm already on to the next one.
Yeah.
It's not like I look over here. There's 3 things I need to unbox, and so I'm just gonna batch unbox it here on this table. I have a top-down shot, a side shot, and then boom, boom, boom. I'll just get those 3 things done, just the recording of the unboxing part, and then I'll use the products for like another month.
Wow.
And then I'll figure out, okay, I need to get this one done. Boom, put it out, and then the next one's shot, recorded, and then put out in the next 3 days. Like I kind of check in on this one that I just released to see what the comments are if I need to respond to something. But I'm not really like, oh my god, it's got like, only got 500 views. Like, okay, as long as it gets to that 1,000 in the first 24 hours, I'm totally fine with it.
Wow. Now, let me ask this question. If you don't get to 1,000 views, do you change the thumbnail? Do you change sometimes to get more views? Are any strategies you do to maybe get to that 1,000?
Maybe I'll promote it a little bit more, right? I'll go to the YouTube community tab and be like, hey, if you missed my interview with Grammy winner Ken Lewis talking about, the future of Dolby Atmos, check this out, blah, blah, blah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So find a way to do that, or repurpose, use Opus Clip or Munch AI or whatever to get verticals.
Okay.
And have those shorts point to because in YouTube you can have the short point to the full video.
Yes.
Get a good, like, I mean, not clickbaity, but something that captures attention quickly.
Beautiful.
And kind of drive traffic over to the video. Yeah.
Last question I think I'm going to ask you, Channa, how important do you think is to have mentorship? Do you seek out mentors? How have mentors helped you in your life? And then will you recommend, like, obviously, like, the reason I wanted to interview you is because for my audience, you're a great example of like looking at your channel, what you've done in the last 9 years, really create something that a life that most people, like I said earlier, dream about, right? So has mentorship really been a big deal for you?
I mean,
for you in that journey?
I think mentorship is probably something I would want to get into, because now I'm getting into a realm of, CEO and business, and this is a lot of stuff that's like over my head.
Mm-hmm.
As far as YouTube, Sean Cannell was pretty much my YouTube coach for a few years, and I think he interviewed me for the channel a few times throughout my journey. Like, I was at CES one year, 2018 or 2019, and he's like, oh, I'm here, hey, let's do a quick interview. Okay, cool. On how the channel's going and this, that, and the other, and going to grow his event, Grow with Video Live. He put me up on screen a couple of times, because I ran into him in the lobby, and I was like, oh, dude, you should hear, this is what happened. Because I've been through all of the seasons of the creator thing, and have to, like, you got to bob and weave. You can't just do the same thing. There's no way, if I started my channel now with the same strategies I was using in 2016 through 2018, it wouldn't grow the same way.
So you had to really grow with what's happening out in the world, how to grow your channel.
So exactly. So having, someone to help or to guide, with what's happening now and what's happening new is huge, right?
Yeah.
As far as like growing the channel and like getting more views and all that kind of stuff. So I think that is definitely important for those that want to start YouTube, but you still have to start it first. You need to have like I finally got a DSLR camera, not this fancy one, but I got a basic one when the channel had like 26,000 subscribers.
Wow.
So I was using my cell phone for the majority of it. Right.
I love that. I love it.
Because, and then I got caught up in all this, oh, I got to buy all these lenses. Oh, I got to buy all this, and the more in the sense of like, how do I make something that's equal value to this that will perform the same?
Yeah.
Right? And if you can't figure those things out, then go get a mentor. Don't just not have anything to start with and then try to get a mentor and then you try to figure out all these things.
Yes.
Like you have to like start. You have to get going first before you ask for help.
You know, that's one thing that I always tell people, you know, action creates clarity. And so did you find where the more action you took, your niche got more clear?
Yeah.
And the video content got more clear. So talk to the audience about that, you know, right? Just don't think it, just go take some action, right? And don't worry about what the society says. All right.
Yeah. So when once people started about, you know, once I, you know, bought the home theater stuff and started making videos about it and people kept asking me, I'm like, okay, well, this is the sound part of it, but there's the visual part of it. So what's going on in video right now? You know, and I've, you know, just because of my background, you know, we always had like, you know, I was always into like TVs and like the best looking TVs. So now I just had to like catch up on what was new. And what was new was 4K, right? In 2016. So, you know, what's the best 4K TV I could buy for under $1,000?
Yeah.
Right. So I just started researching. And in my research, you know, I just, okay, these are the things I need to look for in the TV. And these are the options I want. I have an Xbox. I need to make sure it does 4K, with the Xbox and all these things. That I just started learning. And as the channel grew, I ended up as a judge at the 4K TV shootout like 3 years later. Right.
Wow.
And so now I'm judging these things because of the channel got me to a place where, you know, the person putting it on knows who I am.
Yes.
And and invites me out.
They respect your insight and judgment. Wow. And expertise. Well,
yeah, exactly. So now, and I just spoke with him recently. He wants me to fly out again for this year's shootout. So it's one of those things where the more you learn, you know, and then you know, it got to the point where, you know, the channel was making enough money for me to buy a TV every month, make 5 or 6 videos about it, sell it on Facebook Marketplace, get the new TV, or get the different brand. You know, so it'd be like Samsung, LG, Sony,
so good.
TCL, Hisense, Vizio. Those are kind of like, you know. And then we got to a point a few years later where now Sony and Samsung are just sending me the TVs, right?
Wow.
You know, and it's like these, you know, it just things just happen and they just grow. But it's the way I can break things down and make it understandable for everyone. That's the first thing, you know. And I can teach music to little kids. So if you can teach music to little kids, you can teach all the features of a TV to an adult.
Anybody, yeah,
right?
I agree.
Right. So, you know, all these things that I've done in the past kind of helped with the channel and, you know, how it performs. It's like a culmination of everything, you know.
Yeah. So good. Well, Channa, let's close it off here. Okay. Right. Yeah, I mean, so much. I mean, I would love to have you back for another episode, right? Then let's say when you get to 200,000 subscribers, right? Or
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And so give us some parting words to the people who made it this far and watch this video. Tell the audience something people don't know about Channa. And then if you can give them like maybe something that we don't know about you, and give them one sentence to encourage them on their assignment in life.
Okay. One of the things I'm the biggest procrastinator.
Whoa, really?
I am the biggest procrastinator on the planet.
Wow.
15-page paper due at 3 p.m. on a Thursday. I start writing it at 7 a.m. that morning. Right. That's and then I get it like an A. So I think one of the things that my business partner was saying that I'm really good at is execution. Right. So no, even though I'm a huge procrastinator, once I execute, you know, it's over.
You're in,
right? I'm in it. And the thing gets done, and thing gets done well. So,
wow,
you know, you got to find a way to, you know, if you're a procrastinator, you got to find a way to get started. You got to find that thing inside you. It's essentially, you know, one of the things I used to always I was laying in bed and I'd be like,
So good.
you know, I get up and I had my graveyard shift. I got home, maybe I got to sleep at 9 a.m. 3 p.m. rolls around, my alarm goes off. I'm like, I'm just gonna sleep for another hour. And then I'd have somebody's voice in my head, you know, like Gary Vaynerchuk's thing is like the only thing that's gonna change your circumstances, the only person that's gonna change your circumstances is you.
Yep.
And then I'm out of bed.
Boom.
I got to make that
Execute.
video. I got to edit that video. I got to execute. I have to execute. The only person that's going to change my life is me.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come and save me. Nobody's going to come and save you. The only person that can save you is yourself.
Yes. So
you know,
good.
get off your ass and go do that shit. Like, that's
So
essentially it.
good. So listeners, you know, thank you, Channa. Thank you so much for this incredible interview. So just listening from Channa, execute your assignment, fulfill your destiny, fulfill your passion. And if you want to get a hold of Channa, go to Techno Dad. You'll find all his amazing videos. Matter of fact, he's going to be in Costa Mesa here in next month, actually. Right. And so please come, you know, go to his website. You can check out all where he's going to be. He's going to be there June 7th, 8th, and 9th in Costa Mesa.
Yeah, we're showing off our products.
Yes, a new product. Meet him in person, get his autograph. Phenomenal man, phenomenal guy, phenomenal businessman. So Channa, thank you again, my friend. Looking forward to the next interview with you at 200,000 subscribers.
Sure thing. Thank you so much for having me on. You're awesome, Kalani.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you guys are watching, you don't know his story, you should read his story because it's
Thank you, Channa.
very inspiring.
Thank you. If you just watched the interview with Channa De Silva, I love how he ended it with execution. If you want to live out your purpose, passion, calling, if you want to fulfill your assignment in life, you have to execute that idea that God gave you and surround yourself with people that actually help you get to where you want to be. Remember, the biggest dream stealers come in the form of your family and friends. So be careful who you listen to. So execute your passion, purpose, calling, and fulfill your assignment. Kalani Bali out.